So, after many months of having no changes, and just 2 weeks after making a video on why she sucks, Engineer just got buffed. Now she is way better at her job, and is much more powerful at max level. So, before anything, please like and subscribe. We are very close to 200 subs, and if we get to 500, I'll make a special video. Anyways, enough yapping, let's begin. On level 0, she now costs $600 to place, so you can get her on wave 1, without the bigger budget skill. And now she only needs 8 scrap to build a sentry, as opposed to the previous 16 scrap. However, the sentry fire rate was increased from 0.45 to 0.6. On level 1, the upgrade cost was increased to $350, but the total price is now cheaper, being only $950. Her range was increased to 16 and her fire rate was decreased to 1 second. On level 2, the upgrade cost was increased to $550, with the new total cost being $1,500. Her range was increased to 18 and the fire rate is also 1 second at this level, and she now does 10 damage per shot. However, she can now only build 1 sentry at this level, instead of 2. On level 3, the upgrade cost was increased to $2,250, making the total cost $3,750. Her range and fire rate are the same as in level 2, and she now does 15 damage per shot. She can now build the rifle sentry, and she can build 2 of them. The rifle sentry's fire rate at this level was decreased to 0.25, but each rifle sentry costs 45 scrap to build. On level 4, the upgrade cost was increased to $4,750, making for a total cost of $8,500. Her range was increased to 20, and her damage was increased to 30. On level 5, the upgrade cost was increased to $13,500, which is a total of $22,000. Her range was increased to 20, and her damage was increased to 60. She can now build minigun sentries at this level, and she can build up to 3 of them. The scrap cost for them was increased to 180, the damage was decreased to 3, and the fire rate was decreased to 0.1. On level 6, the upgrade cost wasn't increased, but the total price is now $57,000. Her range was increased to 22.5, and her damage was increased to 85. She can now build war machine sentries at this level, and she can build up to 4 of them. Their scrap cost was increased to 340, their gun damage was decreased to 3, fire rate was decreased to 0.1 and explosive damage was increased to 70. Now that we looked at her new stats, let's decide, is Engineer actually worth grinding for now? Well, first things first, she is way better as a jack of all trades. Her early game capabilities are decent, mid-game capabilities are decent, late-game capabilities are good, and crowd control is also good. Even though Engineer's costs at most levels were nerfed, she also does more damage, and doesn't rely on sentries that much. And, only levels 0 through 2, she needs significantly less scrap to build a sentry, so she isn't as slow as before. But, where Engineer's buff truly shines is on her max level, level 6. Even though she deals practically the same DPS as before, now being 401, 141 of that DPS is just from Engineer herself, meaning she now holds just over a third of her total DPS. And, not only that, but Sentry's gun DPS was halved, for the explosion DPS to be doubled. This means Engineer is now way better at crowd control and defense bypassing, since explosions ignore defense. But this isn't even the best of all, since units with explosions have a bug, where their explosion damage can get buffed. So, if you place a DJ set on red track next to a mercenary base, its grenadiers will have their damage buffed. This is great for Engineer, since it allows for even her sentries to get partially buffed. Overall, engineer is just far greater when combined with supports, compared to before, when she barely benefited. So, how should you use engineer and is she worth it? Well, you could use engineer for early game and mid game, although it is a bit slow, and you would have the risk of dying on the transition from mid game to late game. However, you can now use engineer for late game and she's great at it, especially when paired with damage buffs like the DJ, mercenary base, and medic. If you're willing to use her for early and mid game, her most cost-efficient levels are level 0, 3, and 5. Anyways, combining every single support tower and consumable in the game, we can get engineer to have 1000 DPS, which is absolutely insane. However, do note that this scenario will happen in like 0.001% of the time, so don't get too excited. So, is she worth getting now? Honestly, not that much. Since she's a jack of all trades and master of none, you'd be better off using alternatives like Rocketeer and Accelerator. However, if you usually play in games where there's a lot of support towers involved, then engineer might be a good pick. Anyways, what do you think? Are you going to buy engineer now? Are you going to use her a lot? Let me know in the comments.